All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having yourselves a fantastic start to the AM here. Happy Monday. After what actually feels a little bit like a lifetime ago, there's been a lot of stuff that's happened in the world, right, since our last trading day, and a very headline intensive, right, weekend here. Markets seem to be absorbing that information relatively well here today, right? Effectively as if nothing happened. And we'll continue to see basically how that news narrative basically dictates markets. What I think effectively is kind of setting up here a little bit, right, is for us to go from one news narrative to the next from a market perspective. And I think we're going to be seeing bouts of volatility. So periods where things start to get a little bit aggressive or periods where things start to slow down. Then a new headline drops, right? And then we get back to sort of being aggressive until the sort of story of that headline starts to evaporate and kind of lose its momentum. So curious, right, to see how things go. If we're effectively getting a dip buy, right, you want to call it that, or a relatively positive reaction to the war scenarios that are seemingly out there, certainly is probably an indication, right, that the market is very strong, or is showing us that sort of outlying type strength. And so very, I think, important for us to judge, right, the price action here over the next couple of days, and start to really determine where things are going. Obviously, we are potentially cracking a little bit here to the downside, and potentially seeing a little bit of momentum, right, start to fade away. But yeah, hopefully, right, we don't see too much of that here, and we can kind of go from there. The other base expectation, right, is that a lot like last week, probably still expecting like choppy conditions, kind of maybe sticky price action. Maybe a lot of the moves are going to happen here overnight type thing, instead of necessarily there being a tremendously obvious opportunity. I think we're still waiting for the market to kind of take a certain direction, right, to give us that sustained move. And while we're waiting for that bigger picture narrative to kind of tie it all together, right, I think while we're waiting for that long-term direction to sort itself out, or that next like big leg sort itself out, this is where we're going to be going to that news like driven market, right, where we're going for headline to headline, seeing how things decay in between, and then having kind of like bouts, right, of volatility based off of that. The other thing to really consider, right, is that maybe the extreme volatility at the moment is going to be more so in crude than it could be on the general indexes. So we're seeing more exaggerated variants of that story, right, on CL. And so again, right, maybe we kind of go into a bit of a season where that starts to give us a better indication of trending price action. Obviously, right, with stuff kind of going on in the Middle East, that starts to change the supply of crude oil that potentially is available, right, and the capacity, right, to really fill out their inventories. So this creates a change in market dynamics, right, in crude, and potentially gives us a better indication of trending PA. So again, right, we'll look at that, then we'll cross that big picture as we get to it. But yeah, a lot going on here. From what, like I said, feels like a lifetime ago. Wednesday feels like a lifetime ago. So yeah, really curious to see how things shape up here, how markets want to react today. And hopefully we have an interesting week and some smooth conditions and some good PA. But I'm gonna wait till I get that proven otherwise. Waiting until I see that. We haven't gotten that in a while. So let's see. And then in the short term, continuing to be patient, continuing to be cautious, and then can hopefully go from there. From an economic calendar perspective here today, right, it is okay We got PMI here at 9:45. Fine, it's going to slow me down here a little bit, right? And then data at 10 a.m. So realistically, probably a day where I'm going to have a little bit less action in that first 30 minutes. Realistically, be looking to stay away from the market, right, until those narratives are out of the way. But besides that, right, like after Fed week, we get a little bit of them yapping about a little bit of maybe some political pressure from the Fed committee here. But generally, this gives us an opportunity where, at least from a Fed perspective, things kind of shut up a little bit and we can kind of get back to a smoother indication of trending PA. Friday, sorry for those of you who chose to trade. Disaster looking day, right? Just high volume indecision, really nasty price action there in both directions with a fake out lower, but no real ability to sustain those lower lows. Kind of getting like a continuation of that story here in the pre-market, right, with the big gap up. The big thing to be concerned about here from a pre-market perspective, right, is the implied range here today. So VIX hanging out 20.66, which gives us an implied range of about like 1.3%, right? 1.2%. So I want to be a little bit careful with that, right? Because the range that we've already seen here from the indexes is 1.36%. Okay, YouTube should be fixed now. Appreciate that. But yeah, we're at 1.36% implied range. So kind of telling us potentially, right, that the move has happened already here to the upside overnight. And maybe that the path of least resistance, at least from that implied volatility, right, it is maybe more so to the downside. So realistically, what we're looking for here today, right, is either a retest of this kind of trend line. So retest of the breakdown spot and then a continuation, which would be our downside narrative. Or alternatively, right, we kind of get back into that zone and kind of consolidate from there. Now, getting back into that zone could be a multi-day process. And I would have, I don't know if I'd call it extreme prejudice, but I want to be very patient with moves here to the upside. Because I think that they're more likely to be exhausted or out of momentum than potentially that rejection narrative. And it might take a little bit longer, right, for this market to want to give us that move. So there isn't necessarily a huge pressure or huge rush to want to do this here immediately. I don't need to chase price action on this. I need to wait for price action to be smooth. So we are going to call this a 2 out of 3 here to the downside with volume. And then we obviously would expect today to be a pretty heavy volume day. And so we're looking for either a trend line rejection or a move under 59.70. So we'll say under, fake out at the trend line. Then break down under. And we're looking at 60.27. I say we start at 6,000, right? There's no reason why that wouldn't act like support here today or potential resistance, right? We haven't really been able to close under that area. I think that that's logical enough. Just slow myself down here again, right? And then 59.70 is approximately pre-market lows. Excuse me. And the next point of contact here to the downside is 59.30. Can't type. All right. To the upside here. To say bullish caution as my plan here, and just the main concept, right, is that just could be a little bit out of momentum. Now, there's a huge potential for like squeeze type price action or squeeze type moves here, just because some people are going to be loading up short. So, it is reasonable for us to have a little bit of a bullish bias. If we get a breakout from extended conditions, that's just a good indicator, right, of a continuation type move. I'm trying to think of what the most logical area is for me to. No, I'm just gonna go. So only interested in trading a squeeze move to the upside, right? That would be sort of the bias. So we'd be looking at like a 60-80 plus. I think that makes a little bit of sense. So if the entire market wants to cooperate and I'm getting high conviction narrative, I'm kind of getting like that squeeze, like a short squeeze type breakout, right? Something along those lines. I would be interested. But besides that, if it's just going to be like drifting higher or grinding higher, I want nothing to do with that price action. That would be miserable. Okay. NQ, similar thing here, right? High volume indecision there on Friday, and then just big gap up here this morning, right? So again, we'll call this a week 2 out of 3 here to the downside with volume. And then we're looking for basically a wedge retest, right? So a breakdown or a rejection off of 22,000 and then go. Say bullish. We'll phrase this differently. So then to the downside here, right? 21,600 would be your starting point. And then we only want to do we're at 21.9 here. So 22,000 would be the first starting point. I think realistically, if we're going to trade things here to the upside, we'd almost want to see that like opening range breakout setup happen, at least achieve a 1R move. So if like the range is 13 points, right, for it to give us at least a 13-point move higher. And then if it can give us that next leg of separation, that would be where I'd be interested in potential like bullish opportunities. That would then like set up, right, that squeeze environment. I'm not sure if I'd be interested in any opening range breakouts here to the upside from actually inside the opening range. Okay, and then I mentioned a little bit, right, how crude might be Mr. Volatility here, right, for us to kind of focus on. 7% gap down here this morning, right? This is going to be firing mean reversion setups for sure, right? Or at least giving me some of those dings to start the day off. And it's effectively the opposite, right, of what we have on the indexes. So again, we're going to call this a week 2 out of 3 here to the upside with volume. Mega gap down. So this for sure should be setting up as a mean reversion look. And then to the downside here, again, you want to be pretty cautious waiting, not chasing this further lower. Like if it's already down 7%, maybe that's kind of like the exhaustion move here a little bit, right? We kind of have evidence of that there from Monday. So I'm going to go NA, right, on the bear case here today. A little bit messy, and then this is basically just going to be an ORB mean reversion type setup here, right? And then we're going from 74 to 78.50. So if I'm going to trade crude, I'm only interested in that dip buyer narrative, right? Not really looking forward for any downside continuation. If I get downside moves, I'm looking for the indexes. If I get upside moves, I'm looking for that on crude. That's going to be the basic starting point. If things then break out or I get a larger level of enthusiasm to the upside here on NQ and ES, I'll need to see a general market cooperation for me to be super interested. So not expecting them to be necessarily the craziest of stories here today. But yeah, let's see how the market shapes up and where momentum wants to come together. And again, I'm expecting a little bit of chop, right? Like even just looking at my leading names here, one name higher, one name lower, right? One name higher, one name lower. So we're kind of getting a bit of a mixed bag here. How's everyone feeling? How's everyone's weekend? Uh, nice, Peter. That sounds great. Uh, hey, welcome back, Mike. Hope you're doing okay, buddy. All right, so no expectations, right? We're going to get any action within the first like 15, 30 minutes. Yeah, Brian, we're going to try it out here this week because I think I can do my prep start to finish, just go one take and do the entire morning. So I don't have to do that like little coffee break and all that kind of stuff. I can do all that stuff before I join the stream. I think that does make it a little bit smoother. Yeah, thanks for asking, DJ. It was fantastic. It was a beautiful hike. Just north of Vancouver on Cypress Mountains. Epic with my buddy. Great to see him. And then this weekend in general, I spent a lot of time hiking, and a lot of time yelling, "Go away, bear!" So it's yeah, starting to bump into a few more black bears, but hopefully that isn't a indication here for the market. All right, sorry, I just had to get my laptop here. All right. So, how do we feel about the opening range here? What's it maybe tell us? There we go. Yeah, straight up. So we tend to see two things, right? When we see a range this large, we either see that that was the entire move there of the day, or we see that as like a start potentially of trending conditions. Now we've got data at 9:45 here today, right? Which I think is just going to slow me down in general. So I want to be a little bit patient, right? Watching out for that, or making sure we're not getting caught up in anything there. But besides that, things are kind of playing out how we expected, I would say, right? So far. Pretty aggressive volume as well. Um, Interesting. Instantly gobbled up both directions. Not sure if that's what I expected. Hmm. I didn't expect the first move on the opening range to be higher. Not after that close. Wow. It's gotta be that's gotta be strong bulls, right? Like if you're saying what's the strongest reaction or what's the strongest defense bulls could possibly give us in that situation, it would look like that candle, right? From a price action perspective. Very interesting. Crazy. So I'm very, very impressed with that move. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. If you're judging what's a strong bullish reaction look like, I mean, that's about as strong of an example as you're going to get. The interesting thing though, right, is it's like the indexes are leading the other names though, because they seem to be well ahead of pretty much every other individual ticker, right? So maybe there's something in the background that I don't have up, but that's a very interesting sign. Yeah, yeah, we're still watching, Brooke. We're not going to be trading this. Still got that data to go. Yeah, pretty interesting open. Yeah, NQ leg and just a little bit behind. Yes, for sure, the stronger reaction. And then obviously CL, very, very strong reaction. I've been reading Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, like the Jesse Livermore story, right? Talks about how Livingston trades, just be Jesse Livermore, and makes me want to be a tape reader. Just sitting there, oh, let me read the tape. I do think it's a fantastic book, Mike. Yeah, one of the only books that talks about the life the right way. What's your first little higher high there on NQ? I will say price is being absorbed pretty well at these highs, at least from an ES perspective. It feels like that breakout is still coming. All right, let's see how it reacts to PMI data in a few minutes. Oh yeah, that's a fantastic book too, Mike. That's yeah, that's an all timer. have some big moves, but then also like muted reactions to them. Here's your first little data move. No, pretty muted. Still kind of absorbing at the highs, then still kind of absorbing at the lows. ES continues to show me, I would say, more signs of strength. I have a relative term. Speaking of that, of reminiscences of a stock operator, I can never say the first word, but that's the book where I first got the idea of pyramiding, right? Or where that starts to get talked about there a lot. But you're always just taken right from people more successful than you and people better than you at trading. And you always talked about pyramiding into positions and things like that. All right, here's next little breakout. It's funny when you read those books too, or especially when you read them back like a second or third or fourth time, and you've been trading for a long time. Really gives you new ideas. Like it's very refreshing in that context. Trading moves. A little bit of a window here on NQ. Set up some 900 breakout. Not quite that 1R move though. Talked about. This would be where I'd be most interested, I would say for now, would be NQ. We want to watch, right? We want to watch. Our base assumption here with the bullish narrative, right, is that it's a little bit easier for that story to be one of exhaustion. We really want to make sure, right, that any idea here is to really be deliberate, right, with our entry timing. So no rush, right, to jump into anything here. You need to see that correct absorption. And that's a very similar idea here. You'd probably be looking at like this though. Decent. Holds up okay. Yeah, now price action kind of feels like it's stalling a bit more. Yeah, I'm for sure watching NQ here. So stop, we'll call it right 92. $8.92. You one contract here. And your reference price would be 916. Not front running it, right? Not front running it. So waiting till it gives me a breakout above and then uses that blue line as its like consolidation spot. Okay. Now we're watching, right? Now we need a little pullback. Oh. Okay, so still watching here, still watching. Oh, doesn't want to get under 916. A volume. Held higher highs. Okay, watching closely here. Hey guys, I am in on the dot, 916 on the dot. One contract, stop loss 892. All right, let's see if this thing can go. Got to run here. That gives us those little pops up and over, and then that's the big drop. Hmm. Come on. Don't like how it seemingly keeps stalling. Right around my entry price. It's got to pop here. There we go. Okay. Hey guys, I've closed there at 2650, out at 2650. Just closing this right before the data. All out at 2650. So good little $200 to start the day off. And okay, fine, but got out just before data. I can live with that. Maybe I shouldn't. Ah. The data reaction is always a little bit unlucky, but it was the right process, guys. It was the right process. Believe it or not. It stings, but it's the right process. It is the right thing for us to do. It's fine though. It's fine. Oh, it's not even better safe than sorry. It's just you don't know the reaction. Take your win, Baron. Take the base hit. Start things off. A win's a win, guys. A win's a win. All right. Yeah, this is strong. It'll give me another chance to jump in here, so that's fine. But a good start to the morning. Good start to the morning. Oh, 210 bucks. I'll take it. So while I'm waiting, right, so I'm going to start to fill in my journal here. And this is really good volume. It's hard to today is what, the 23rd? Oh my god. Yeah. So we'll be watching this here. Stop loss 847, reference price 859. Okay, not yet, right? Hasn't found support off of that blue line. Like I said, stop loss 847, sorry, 947. Might need to be a little bit lower now. Called 946. 946. So again, could possibly look at this with two contracts. When we talked about that squeezed environment, right? This is sort of what we talked about here, right? Big volume, kind of halfway up the opening range. So very much is more so those types of conditions. Yeah, I keep saying 8, but it is 947. It's 946 now. Spot on. Okay, so watching closely. Okay, now looking for a little pullback here. Okay, I have to go one contract. Oh, might have just missed. One contract you want under green line. Seems like it wants to give me that little pullback here. Very much a squeeze type move. Oh yeah, I'm never going to complain about being green. All right, so again, we're looking for the aggressive 972 stop loss. I just call it 970. Okay. So watching carefully here. I'm looking at just one contract for now. If I can get under 82, 81-ish, I can look for two. Okay, might have to just go for a one contract play here. Too fast, way too fast. If it finds support. Nice, Leo. That's fantastic. Okay, so back to watching here, guys. Back to watching. Okay, give me a gentle pullback here. Ah, it's still not quite giving me the correct reaction for it to pull the trigger. Oh, great entry, Mike. Great entry. Okay, so again, we're back to looking for the aggressive here. We're looking, see if it finds support first. 888 or 988. Now it would be lower. It would be 85. Let's see. And that would be 82. That was a good bounce. Really good bounce. Okay. The reference price here would be the high, right? 91.50. Okay. Well, there's no entry there for sure. Quite the right behavior. All right. That was increasing volume maybe on the 10. You could probably do it, but that's a big stop. This would be 924, 41, a little bit more doable. No rush to give away my 200 bucks. Let's put it that way. For sure, Eric. It could be looking like a rejection. We need quite a bit more candlestick confirmation before I'm willing to jump in on that narrative, right? On the 3 min, looks good from a candle shape perspective, but not a very strong volume profile. And then on the 5 min, it's just telling me an inside bar. So it could be kind of creeping up closer and closer towards those narratives, but we don't have any indication that that has been the formal rejection here yet. We're still seeing a relatively bullish reaction here so far. So kind of just looking like that period of consolidation, maybe priming for the next move. There's something yeah, I want to test out maybe here in the next little bit. Um we talked about right off the open, right? ES, that like first bullish reaction, right? That was very, very clear in that context. I think that bulls were in control. Um, I wonder if there's a way of backtesting what like the first like real bullish reaction is, or really bearish reaction. The first bull candle, first bear candle of the day is tone setting candle, if you want to call it that. Um, and seeing if there's like a tradable edge there. Because you have gotten 30 points maybe on ES, maybe 35 points on ES, with like maybe 2 points of drawdown based off of that logic. Again, this is me uh just cosplaying as Jesse Livermore, right? Like reading that book and getting those ideas. That's definitely been running through my head here a little bit today. Inside bar. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, Mike. Yeah, it seems like it's definitely slowing down here just a little bit. I mean, a bit unlucky with the way that data shaped up, but reaction to data is always random at best. The other thing that was kind of running through my head there is it kind of felt like I was early to that move, maybe positioned well, but early. It doesn't really pay you to be early. I haven't ever back tested against gold. Um, yeah, I probably should. I should probably do gold and silver, all things considered. But I'm sure those concepts would work. Uh, there'll be some like personality quirks, I'm sure, but I'm sure they would work. The things that I want to um would be very interested in kind of testing a little bit would be um what you call it, yeah, gold, silver, and maybe like a crypto futures, like a Bitcoin futures or something. The other thing that's rattling around in my head is effectively like an overnight strategy. So with these prop firms, right? Like you can buy. Yeah, you have to be positions to be closed effectively 15 minutes a day. Where they have to be what you call it, yeah, so like whatever, 4:15, everything has to be closed 15 minutes, things reopen. I think they actually formally open in prop rooms like an hour 15 minutes after market close, but there's nothing in their rules that suggests you can't just do overnight trades, right? Where there's definitely a strategy where it's buy at close, sell it open, right? Which captures a good portion of overnight moves. There definitely would be something there that could be interesting. All right, so again, we're back to watching here, looking for a little breakout. A little bit tight on ranges, so we got to be a little bit careful here. So you'd be looking at a 979 stop loss. And it'd be just be a one contract rip here. Contract. And we're looking for under 994. Oh, 10 points of pullback here. So for those who got that initial entry right at that like 80 handle or 75 handle, if you're journaling that, right, it was the right thesis, but maybe a little bit early on the timing. So think that a little bit and ask yourself, okay, like why was I willing to stay out and why were you willing to jump in? What was the difference? The thesis was solid. I'm not trying to do a victory lap here. Not my intention. Um, but yeah, it's tough to be early, right? It's tough to be early. Okay, so still interested here. We need 5 points or so of drawdown or pullback. A little bit more. Oh, might have to wait. I mean, this 5-minute candle might give me a look here too. I could go 995 stop loss. And then entry 09. Yeah, so watching here for sure. You know, 2 contracts. All right, guys, I am in 207.50, 207.50. Stop loss 995, 207.50. Sorry, 07.50. I keep typing these things out wrong. And not a great reaction here. Ooh, did I survive? For now, I have. This has got to be the point where it goes, right? If it gives me that little fake out post entry, not a great sensation, especially after it teased my stop loss. Yeah, I did take the stop loss there. Got a nasty fill. Took the stop at 95.50. We could potentially try this again here. And that would be 988. Nothing's considered. I do think it was a reasonable idea. Increasing outlier volume, normal body bullish candle held higher highs. I just don't think I defended it as aggressively as I needed to, actually. Okay. Again, back in business, you'd be looking at an 84.50. Higher high, higher low. Let's see how this closes. 5 seconds. All right, guys, I'm back in 997, 997. Stop loss 84.50. Like this entry very much. All right, let's see. 997. Two cons. Kind of watching this a little bit paranoid, to be honest. Not quite the right reaction again. Hmm. Come on. All right, I've been stopped out. Yeah, that little reaction again to my entry wasn't perfect. I didn't defend it as well as I could have. It's definitely the right stop loss. Good morning, Ian. Um, no, Mike, I don't. I trade futures, not ETFs. Yeah, well, at this point, Ajay, I'm starting to think that 22,000 probably isn't going to happen here, right? If it's stalling, this many attempts at it is stalling. It's starting to play more as like now a exhaustion reversal spot. I still don't know if I can. I don't see an obvious short here. Like the rejection or the reaction at 22,000 still feels a little bit mediocre. But I have no indication from price action that bulls have lost at this level here yet. Kind of a battle between the head and the heart. A little bit. It's increasing, but it's not like super strong from a volume perspective. Yes, a little bit better. So sitting down about $500 here right now. CL I wish was giving me a nicer combo of candles. Bar there. Decreasing volume, lower low, lower high. And line. Doji inside bar. Extended on the BBs. I want to play this as a little inside bar fake out entry. $22.03. I'm going to do that. I think the better stop would be high of day. $22.04. Short, right? Short. Tracks. Yeah, well, that's why we haven't entered a trade here yet, right, AJ? So all we're talking about here right now is just what we think the path of least resistance is. There's no reason to enter a trade here yet. Use the journal template from inside the trading docs on the Discord and then send me that PDF. It's here potentially. And so increasing but not outlier on inside bar. Well, I wouldn't say that it's necessarily a specific price that I'm looking at, right? It's more of a personality change, right, from how price action is moving. So right now, we're just seeing those kind of like what's the right analogy? It's like you like throw Play-Doh at a wall and then it sticks for a little bit, right? And then it falls off. We're kind of looking for that price action to resolve, right? Where it like sticks at a level and then falls off, sticks at a level and falls off. So we're looking for a personality change from the market associated with volume and candlestick confirmation. It's a little bit better on ES, but still not getting that volume. CL doesn't really seem to matter. Definitely looks like it's starting to wedge a little bit. Got your trend line here. Not enough volume. Still just indecision. I have the key moment here, I would say, on ES. But if this thing can crack down under this 47 and keep pushing lower, NQ should follow suit. I would say NQ's been lagging behind ES maybe about 5 minutes here today. If we can get a breakout from this consolidation. I would say on this most recent go here, we saw the buyers load up at 990-ish. Say between 992 and 990. That's where we saw the buyers load up previously here on NQ. So if we can get a breakout and separation away from that zone, that would be great. Yes, we have a chance here. It's okay, volume. Bigger than the consolidation, but not by a lot. Have to be a really tight entry. Be looking at a 2201 stop loss, we'll call it. Okay, so watching here. I get under 12, right? Be patient. This pullback's maybe a little bit too fast. A little bit too fast. A good decision to have waited. Okay. Now you'd be looking at a 995 stop loss. Okay, and this time I'm in 2225 22,000,25. Two contracts, stop loss here 995. Yeah, this is long. This is long. We're watching here closely, guys. We're watching here very carefully. I don't want to see this thing pull back to my entry price. Which it does. Got bounce here. Hey, I got stopped out at 994. Now for sure looks like a rejection. Okay, so 2202 short. 22002. Watching short, not in yet, but watching short. We have a clear rejection and then fake out higher thesis, right? Off of 22,000. So for sure, now watching to the downside. Trying to find a reasonable entry here. Okay, guys, I am in 21,990.25. 21,990.25. Okay, let's see if this thing can crack here and really give us the move we want early. Um, okay, see if we could start cracking here, right? Really flush through 80. Come on. Far so good. Ooh, big bounce. So we're looking to judge this candlestick right on now. A couple things. So we want to see it hold lower lows. We want to see it give us a strong candle shape, and we want it to see it close on increasing volume. We definitely want it to hold here under 80, right? That's going to be our point of contact. It can't close under 80, right? We're going to look to get out and either reset, right, and get a different entry price, or look to play this on a different time frame. Watch this close, right? This next 15 seconds is a big 15 seconds. And it doesn't look like it's going to close under 80. Now we want to close right as our PNL is increasing. Come on. Be a little bit patient here, right? This is going to be our opportunity on this little flush through to get a little capitulation type move, and that's going to be our trigger to exit. Oh. Okay, this is going to be our opportunity for that capitulation here, right? Quick little flush and you get out. This is our chance. Watch for the flush. And not happening the way that I want. Come on. Come on. Trust, trust, trust. Here it goes, guys. Watch here. This is going to be our opportunity to get out. It's going to be our opportunity to get out. So watch the flush. Here we go. Watch, 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 watch. All right, guys, I am all out. I am all out at 72.25. All out at 72.25. Great, great exit, right? Way to stick to a plan there. Why did I pick 80? So 80 was the previous low, right? So it was the previous candle's low, 980.50. So I want to see us hold under lower lows. That's the general consensus. Okay, so great little bounce back trade there. 790 bucks. Let's see if we got another leg. Of course, second we close, it sells off another 20 points. But I know at least we've got the path here lower, right? And again, I'm not going to complain about following my rules there on that exit. That's fine, right? If the trade is strong, it'll give me another chance to enter in. You can always jump back in. So now we'd be looking at a stop loss short, right? 962. 21,962. And the point here, right, not to go super fast, be slow, be deliberate, right? Remain in control here. We're looking for things to reset back up, right, and tell us that they're strong. Again, we're looking at a 962 stop loss, and it is bouncy. Be patient. Just be patient. Don't chase it. So just JS, right? Just to beef up your question there a little bit, right? When I'm looking for the candle to hold a number, I'm picking round numbers and I'm picking previous lows, right? So previous candle lows. So if it goes through like 960, right, I want to see it holding 960. If it goes under 950, right, I want to see it holding 950. If it closes Berkeley 955, I don't know what that means. Right now, I don't need to close to enter a position. I need the right behavior from price action. So now I'd just be looking stop loss 966. And we're looking for a breakdown and then retest of that blue line, which is approximately that 955. Own business here. All right, so I'm in short 957.25, 957.25, stop loss 966. Not a great entry. 57.25, 57.25. Come on. So two contracts here again. There we go. Much, much better. Much, much worse. All right. I have to get out of this. Okay, guys, I have closed. Exit price 956.25, 956.25. Can always try this again, but I didn't like that fake out. That fake out didn't feel good, so I'd rather reset and try again here. Just felt like a little bit of a fake out that it was going to come back. Again, maybe not a ton of conviction that my entry timing was perfect. So got out, reset, get in partial, try again. It starts to behave the way that I expect, I can always jump in, but if I'm early, I'm stressed. So here right now, I reckon I would have been stopped out, or would be pushing that. Right now, I would have been stopped out. So it was a really good decision. Really good decision. Otherwise, right, we can potentially look for the pullback entry technique here on this 5 min. And that would be a 989 stop loss. And we going back to one contract. Okay. Much, much better here. Okay, 20 bucks on that trade. Nothing to brag about, but it was a really good process, right? It was $20 that saved me 300. That's a win, right? If I'm a trader, a penny found is a penny made. And so we're maybe back in business here on this pullback technique. My reference price would be a retest here of the 980. Well, on the 3 min, sorry, on the 5 min here, right? It just looks like an inside bar still. And that's a good looking candle, but I'm not sure if I'm fully convinced by it. I still think that it's more bearish control than bullish. So let's see here. This would be the spot where we'd be interested here in possible rejections. So if we can get back over, 22,000 AJ for sure, that would be a reversal signal. The problem with playing reversals here to the upside from the middle of the range is just how far we have to target. Don't have very far to go. So from a risk reward perspective, very challenging for us to actually execute that trade. Now this isn't exactly behaving like strong strong bears either here at the moment. But I don't need to be greedy here. And now this kind of feels like a little bit like a fake out. Stop loss have to be 995. It's a weird one. Okay, so potentially another little fake out scenario here would be interesting. Slight risk here. Hmm. I'm not super convinced by anything yet for another go here. CL doesn't want to get out of that range either. I want to play this fake out entry. It's very appealing. It's also very risky. It's not risky from a dollar perspective. I think it's risky from a process perspective where it's like it's the trade I want to take. I don't think it's the trade that I am being told I need to take. If that makes sense. Not enough volume on the 10. Let's keep waiting. I don't see anything obvious. All right, so let's keep watching here. Go stop loss at high a day. 2020, 2220. Very appealing as like a volume divergence reversal entry thesis. So stop loss would have to be high of day. The thesis would be breakdown, right? And then a low vol pullback into a previous area of bearish support. So you'd expect bears to step in and defend this zone. Question is, will you get that little exhaustion entry or no? The other element here is I'm a little bit green here on the day. Aggressive do I need to be? That's a good question. So I would like some sort of obvious rejection in that 22,000 number, right? So like a 2210 or a 2205. Basically see these bears, right, step in and defend that thesis, right, or to indicate that it's bearish control. I would say the key concern with this trade, right? Obviously, thesis is important and things like that. But if we're happy with the thesis, the big thing to focus on here is entry timing. It would be better to buy an overreaction than it would be to chase this and be early. So effectively, the last hour of price action has been pretty sideways. Things considered. So we want to make sure, right, that if we are getting another sideways move, we're getting on the upper end of sideways, if that makes sense, right? So if it's like range bound a little bit, you want to be going short at the top of the range so that if it fails to break down, you have like insurance for it. That makes sense? So if I'm looking at, let's draw a box here. right? This is like my range bound zone. I want to be buying upper fifth of it, right? Upper quarter of it, not middle or bottom. Again, so far, any entry above 22,000 is paying you nicely. I haven't had a high conviction entry at that point. Kind of in a weird spot from a P&L here perspective. It's not enough to count as a green day. Bullshit rule. You also don't want to just like press just to trade to hit some alert on a screen or whatever it is, right? So as much as like every trading day, it only counts as a trading day if you make 200 bucks. I don't need to try to place a trade just to satisfy those conditions, right? I need to only be placing trades when they're perfect, give me exactly what I want. When I start to impose like a P&L goal on myself or entry criteria based on like a P&L objective, I make it really hard to accept however my trading day goes, right? I'm not generally a huge believer in daily P&L goals. Now that I'm aware of this buffer, this limit, right, or I'm talking about it, I want to be really deliberate, right, with how I'm entering my trades, that isn't the influence or like the chase point, I guess, right, to get after it. Still waiting here, no rush. Might be my overreaction opportunity here. Okay. You are you short, Ian? So you buy to close, right? Opposite of what you did to open. Should also be a little X that you can click that will get you out of your trade. Okay, so that's a good little rejection reaction. I'm for sure watching here, guys. Yeah, so interesting question, Mark. When you talk about personality or perhaps seeing where price action is heading, is there any way to get confidence in price movement when the range tightens up? So it's basically once you see the range tighten up, right? It's to define the extremes of the ranges and then only look for reactions once you're inside those extremes. And then once you've established that range bound PA, you're waiting for a proven otherwise, right? So what does a breakout look like? What does further consolidation look like? Being more specific in what those definitions are for you in the moment will make it easier for you to avoid some of that choppy price action. Okay, so still looking off of this as our confirmation, trying to find a reasonable entry. Still watching here, still watching. My base reference price here is 9.95. I need an entry better than that to be within my position sizing rules. Okay, still watching here. Yeah, I'm going short here, Corinna. Going short. We're looking for a short. Um, See my stop loss here at the upper or high of day. That's what my stop loss is. Okay, so now it would have to be something like this. 998 stop loss. You'd be looking for a retest here of the trend line. Something like that. Pull back just a little bit. On. Okay, still watching here carefully. Volume. Okay, close. Close. All right, guys, I'm in 983.75 short, 983.75. Watch this for a second. Not quite perfect. Okay, so yeah, 983.75 here, 983.75 short. Okay, and we got to see this thing start to flush here pretty quickly, but so far so good. And again, right, we talked about how the big thing about this setup was getting our entry timing correct and basically making sure that we're green right away. We are getting that so far, right? So it's a very good reaction here early. Now let's see if we can just get that separation, big flush, nice follow through, and then we can go enjoy our lives. So far, so good here. How's everyone feeling today? Everyone feeling okay? Yes, no, hopefully. Good, Rebecca. Love that. All right, so now we're going to see if this thing can flush for us, right? Now if this thing can flush. Here we go, team. Here we go. Now watch for this continuation, right? And we've seen price action stall here at this 960 before. Just be patient, right? And if you don't like the way it's behaving, focus on closing as your PNL is increasing, not on a panic pullback, right? Well, I still have reasons to be optimistic about this trade. So let's see if we can keep going. But a really nice little win here. Really, really nice little win and excellent patience. Excellent patience. And not patience hoping this thing would turn into a winner. Patience and waiting for our entry, right? That was really, really, really valuable. So let's see if we can get that next flush here through 960 and get through, right, basically this perceived area of support. So as we're looking for a trend line breakdown, right? You're going from one point of contact to the next. Don't want to get too greedy here, but let's see if this thing still has some legs in it. Otherwise, I'm taking it and running. Yeah, does the plan make sense to everyone? Everyone kind of get what I'm saying there? So if we're unable to break down and hold through 960, I'm going to look to get out and take my 850 bucks. We want to see a dramatic flush through 960. That's the goal. If we don't get it, I'm going to look to get out. Probably a more succinct way of describing it. Still got about a minute to go to judge. Much, much better. There we go. That put everyone green on the day. Hopefully, right? Nicely green, everyone. Here we go. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Let's go, Rebecca. Fantastic work. That's really strong. Yeah, well, learning when not to trade and learning when to trade, that's a lifelong battle, Mark. It's a lifelong fight. Okay, so really, really starting to flush here, team. Really good looking trade. Beautiful. That's 15. So let's see if this thing can keep going here. But great result. Great, great result. And now, right, really trying to focus on closing as my P&L is increasing. There's 18, 19, 2000. So let's see if this thing can give us just a little bit more oomph. That might have been our quick flush there. Nice work, Aj. Incredible exit. Well done. Just missed it. This thing can come back down here. Trying to be very patient with this. Easier said than done. Nice work, John. Congratulations. I don't like this pullback. Oh, I just missed my exit. Now this is punishing me. So let's see if we can get just a little bit patient here. Nice work, Sean. Jamie, on the trade that you stuffed up, which one was it? Nice work, Greg. 800 bucks on the day is fantastic. Congratulations. Man, this is making me work here now. Fuck. Nice work, yay. Hey, come on, flush. Got to trust this setup. Maybe a little bit more than I would like. I feel like the pullback a bit bigger than I would like. A bit more volume than I would like too. All right. I think I should be able to talk myself out of this here so we can get a good close. Come on. Really really making me work here. Keep dying, keep dying, keep dying. We might exit in a second here, teams. We might exit in a second, right? Watching for my exit here. Come on, a little bit more, a little bit more. Come on, get under 50. Oh, that might have. Again, come on, come on, come on. I'm just looking for my exit here, price guys, trying to get out in the next little quick flush lower. But I'm kind of debating it right around this 50 handle. I'd say 2 times I probably missed my perfect exit price on this. Um, okay, so last chance saloon here. Hey, sounds good, Mark. Enjoy the rest of your day, man. Okay, so watching. Who's still suffering through this with me? Anyone? Yeah. Here we go, Nick. This is gonna be our opportunity, buddy. So watching here for this flush. Really trying to trust my plan. Watch. All right, I'm out. I am all out at 48 at 9:48. Beautiful, Nick. Beautiful. Let's go, Darren. That's good risk management, man. That's fantastic. Hey, quick little $1,400 on that trade, guys. I will take it all day long. That's a great effort. And now a pretty good day. So realistically, team, I'm not going to place any further trades. That's been a really successful trading day, and I've honestly been pretty happy with the process of the trades here. How's everyone feel in general? Everyone feeling good today? Positive trading day, not so positive. How do you feel? Let's go, Jen. Congratulations. It was a good exit, team. It was a very good exit. Let's go, Corinna. $800 is fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, great exit. Great exit. Any other questions here, team? How's everyone feeling? Everyone feeling good? Was I clear, concise today? Did I make sense? Everyone understand the trades I took here today? Like it was both a busy trading day, but I think also a calm trading day. It was a great combo. Good, Jen. Good, good. And yeah, I'll be honest, I needed a little bit of a slowdown, like be forced to slow down as well here on a personal perspective. I'm starting to get a little bit too aggressive in the chop, so good to take that reset. And a little bit of time away from the markets, long weekend makes a big difference. Yeah, happy to be green here, team. It was a great day. So, any other questions here, team? Any other questions? I'm not going to stick around for very much longer. I'm going to be happy to just go enjoy my life. So, position sizing, David, right? You need to think about, let's go. Simone, $140 per account's awesome. Um, but David, right? You want to be thinking about, if I were to bring up my paper trading account, right, just for illustrative purposes here, if I'm entering a trade, I want to be entering in my stop loss and putting in this price first, right? So if I'm struggling with my position sizing, this would be how I would do it. So let's say that we're looking for a long and our stop loss would be 21,931.75, right? So go 21,931. I would set that as my limit price and then my ask here as 0. So I know that with one contract here, right, I'm risking 280 bucks, 255 bucks, 200 whatever. And so all I would be doing be watching this, right? And asking myself, am I less than my max loss number? Am I less than half of my max loss number, right? So right now I'd be risking 100 bucks. Now I could go 2 contracts, right? Maybe even 3 contracts, right? Maybe even 4 contracts. And I just want to be making sure that when I click submit, my number of units is acceptable for the number of contracts, right, that I have. So units should mean that I'm still less than 500 bucks. And you go from there. Yeah, Simone, you'll be able to find them in both locations. So if you go into trading view and then you go into your order tab, you'll have a filled tab of trades that you took here today. Once the market closes, your Trade account should also update with those positions. But you should always be able to find that information inside your order history tab. So I haven't paper traded here today, right? My last trade was an illustrative one from the 10th of June. So I don't have any orders, right, from today. If you go into the filled, you'd be able to see them there as well. But that would be the place to do it. And again, back to that 949. So feeling good. It's a great day, team. That was a really sharp trading day. I'm really am proud of that. I think we balanced the line of playing the price action that was in front of us, but we also played it in a calmer way, if that makes sense, right? So we didn't do anything crazy, we didn't do anything stupid, we didn't do anything dumb. It was a good day and a good day of concise decisions. And I'm quite proud of that. Be damned. I think process here today was very, very good. I liked it a lot. The only thing I think I could have done maybe just a little bit better, twofold. Identifying that bullish squeeze move earlier. I think that that would have been the big money maker, right? Especially on ES. This initial breakout here, that reversal, right, on that first 5 candles, that was the flip, right? That was the bullish flip here for the morning. And then the other ingredient, right, is I had 2 trades where I didn't close them when I felt like my thesis had flipped. I still allowed myself to kind of get stopped out. So I could have turned those, $350 and $400 losses into something maybe a little bit smaller, maybe $100 here, $100 there. And I think that that would have been very positive. No, it wasn't there, AJ, for sure. No, it wasn't on that 5 min. On this 3 min here, it was, by the looks of it. Oh no, maybe not. So maybe no. Maybe I could have been a bit more aggressive. Yeah, man, that's why I didn't trade it. It's only now in hindsight, right, with the 5 minutes that we're like, yeah, this is when the personality shifted or the personality changed. So I don't think it's a bad decision. Just maybe I could have been a little bit better. You mean this one down here, David? This volume indicator? So it's not that I necessarily think that um like I would have had an entry on that reversal, but I think maybe if I reviewed that in more concise terms, that hey, this is the personality change or like the start of the squeeze, maybe I could have started looking for those moves a little bit earlier. Yeah, I've got no issues to think that the volume indicator is not accurate. It's data directly from CME, so I have no reason to doubt it. If it ever turns out that TradingView is just like making up these volume candles instead of taking it from the data, which might be more difficult for them to do, that's gonna blow my mind. It's gonna be a trading revolution. But yeah, I have no reason to doubt the data source. So yeah, all things considered, pretty happy with today's trading day, team. Don't think I did well, yeah, it'd be a huge lawsuit in theory, but you'd have to prove that it's not there's no financial gain, right? That the information cost you money. If I'm using false data and false Yeah, if you go into your trading panel, trading view trade, and then you just click DOM, you'll see it here. But I don't think I'd have a case to say, like, that's why I'm saying it'd be really confusing. Yeah. So it was on this as my confirmation, right? This 1015 here as my confirmation. And then, yeah, it was a 95 as a stop loss. So try to use the aggressive entry technique, right? So here's my confirmation breakout above high a day. Second most bullish candle, right? Increasing outlier volume, right? So it's touching that white line, held above high a day. Stop loss in the aggressive technique, 995, pulled back, shaked out. This was the trade, AJ, where I was saying like I probably could have closed this one or done a better job protecting here because it made that little fake out above my confirmation high and then pulled back and stopped me out. Like I'm seeing a failed move before it stops me out. Like I need to have the discipline to cut that one faster. Anything else to your team? Anything else? AJ, did that make sense? You have to just manually, excuse me, you just have to manually track it, Simone. Unfortunately. Your prop firm at the end of the day will do those stats for you. I'll watch it back too, AJ, and I'll make up those documents, right, that I've been doing for those trades here as well. So I'll make that breakdown available to you too. That might take me a little bit of time here today, it's a bit more trades, but I'll go through all of those and do the little Loom videos on all of them and stuff like that. That's sort of part of my process here now. I'll be doing those recaps. I won't do it for the trades where I was up $100 or the one that I closed for $20, whatever it was. But for the trades where I closed for a win or got stopped out, I'll journal them for sure. All right, team. Final call for questions here. Final call for questions. Hey, love that, Rebecca. Great start to the week. Really, really well done here today. You should be thrilled. Awesome. We'll see about no more bears. unfortunately here, the second you get out from like the mountains or like the forest into like the bush, you pretty much always just bump into a little black bear. And they're pretty harmless, and the dog's not very reactive to them, but always gets the heart pumping when you're 10 feet away from an animal that could just. Yeah, everyone green. All right, team. Well, if no other questions, I'm going to kill the stream here for the day. Right. Same deal like always. If you have any questions, hit me up outside of market hours. I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. But really happy with today's trading day. I think it was really strong. And yeah, hopefully we can keep building on this momentum, right? And keep keep this little streak going. This little win streak that we're at here now, it's a lot of days in a row, right? We're pushing 14 green days in a row here. So it's not always been pretty. It's kind of been ugly some of the ways, but all things considered, I'm pretty happy with the session in general. So I can't complain too much. And yeah, stoked to be green, guys. Been fun. So 1631.46 on the day per account, and that's a nice little jump up here. All right, team. So same deal like always, right? If you have any questions, hit me up outside of market hours. Otherwise, have yourselves a fantastic rest of the day. And I will see you all tomorrow for what should hopefully be another good continuation of some strong trading price action. And looking forward to seeing what the volatility has in store for us then. But in the meantime, have yourselves a great afternoon, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace.